Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Coaches Close Clients podcast. Today, we're joined with one of my best friends, the lovely Christina Elizabeth Miller, who is my coach and also the co-founder of the Embodied Influencer and a coach for feminine leadership. So she is a queen, and we're so excited to have her here with us to actually tell us all about how to create an offer for your coaching business that attracts your ideal clients and that really helps you to get your gifts into the world. So thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Nika. I absolutely adore you, and it's so much fun being your coach and seeing you step into this. So I'm really excited to jump on and to create this so we can also help all your other audience do the same thing that you're doing and just like stepping into your gifts and your dreams. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
Aw, thank you. I feel your gratitude. This is awesome. Okay, so what we always like to do to get started is just to learn a little bit more about you. So just share with us a little bit about your story and just quickly how you ended up doing the work that you do now.
Okay, so I'm one of those people that have kind of like always known that I really wanted to make an impact on the world ever since I was really young. I had a lot of turmoil and trauma in my childhood, but I always felt like I'm here to help people make impact. Like we are all here to make a change in the world. I was like 9, okay. So ever since
Really, me too. I was like, I want to be a prime minister, and I was like 11.
exactly, I can see it. I can see it, right? Like, we
Yeah.
just had big dreams. Like we are the warrior princesses of this world, and we're here to help people change the world. So I've always known that, and it started off like obviously doing other things, just be myself. But my first time I had a business, I was 16, and I had a baking company. And ever since then, I've been going into entrepreneurship on and off for the past 12 years. And so entrepreneurship has always been a really, really big thing for me. And in 2012, I moved to Ottawa, and I started be really involved in my college. I started to study entrepreneurship and business. And throughout my 3 years studying at college, I met my now partner, both business and romantically, by the name of David Pare at Algonquin College. And he had a club called the Young Pros. And I absolutely love the vision that David had. Like David and I vibed so well, and we laughed so much, and we just truly wanted to make an impact on entrepreneurs' lives. And so David and I launched this company with our mentor, Matt Britt, and we created basically a community of young entrepreneurs. We had over 1,000 of them, and we used to host monthly events called like Young Pros, and like people would just come out and we'd have speakers and everything. And it was amazing because we were helping young entrepreneurs step into the best versions of themselves, and we absolutely loved it. But as Dave and I were growing together and our relationship was starting to flourish and everything was starting to happen, like we started to realize that like what we really cared about was helping people to step into themselves and spread a message. Like we ourselves had a message to share, but like it was so difficult to figure out what to do. Like there was all these things online, all these Facebook ads, and there's like, how do we actually share a message? Like how do we do this? And David and I, being like the people to like jump into the fire, being the martyrs that we are, we're like, okay, we got to learn how to do this. So we decided to leave Young Pros behind and travel the world and start a business at the same time, because we're like, we want this lifestyle. Is it possible? And we started off by doing a marketing agency, learning everything that we need to know about marketing and all these different things. And meanwhile, also just stepping into ourselves, like constantly growing, constantly pushing our limits, all the limiting beliefs about money and abundance and life, just like moving through those things so that way we could show up better as in our business. And it was so challenging. It was the most challenging thing we have ever done to like grow a business and also travel at the same time, but it was so fulfilling. And we recognized at some point that it wasn't like doing the work for people. Like originally we were like doing all the social media, and we recognized that it wasn't that was like really getting us lit up. And we also noticed that the clients that we were working with, they didn't have the foundations down. And so they're spending thousands of dollars on ads and webinars and all these things that are promoted for online marketing, and they just weren't working. And so we really got back to like our true calling. It's like, what do we really want to do? So we want to help people to spread a message. And so I won't get too much into it, but basically I was on a beach in Thailand one day, and I was like super frustrated with the fact that like all the stuff that people say was working wasn't working. And so I was like playing in the water and just like, forget, I'm just going to enjoy myself. And I had to download something called the Influencer Blueprint. And it was essentially like the code, the blueprint to be able to connect your heart and your soul into your business. And ever since then, David and I have been working on that. And the feminine leadership has just come up because like I love helping and activate women, especially like people like you, Nika, like women like you just get me so fired up. And like I feel like unleash this feminine leadership because like I was so masculine, and now I feel like I can embrace my feminine and embrace the magic that I have. So now I am helping people step into themselves with their message, and also activating women to like really step into who their stars and like unlock the feminine powers that we have. So that was like a lot in a short period of time. So yeah.
No, that was awesome. And why don't we just go into that just quickly before we kind of chat about offers, but just tell us a little bit about, a lot of female coaches. So we work with a lot of female coaches and kind of female coaches balancing the masculine with the feminine, because so many of us are so stuck in the masculine, especially when we start our business. We think, okay, gotta create a webinar, gotta like do all this, gotta hustle. And we think that that's what's gonna pull clients to us. But then what I found also through working with you is like, by getting vulnerable and like going into the feminine, which I had so much resistance around, was how I actually started to like attract and like magnetize people that were like really resonating with my message. And that's only been like true for me for the last couple of weeks. So it's been crazy, but just speak to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I would love to, because like that's one of my favorite things to talk about. So the truth is that we're beautiful. We're radiant sources of light and magic. We create things. We are expressive and sexy and just like amazing. And the thing is that when we're trying to make something happen, it is so opposite of who we are. We are like lights that attract things. So when we're trying things, it's like we're trying to prove our own worth. Yeah. And when you're trying to prove your own worth, it doesn't come across as something. See, men are naturally meant to like pierce the world, piercing the world. Like they have a focus on like making an impact and a mission. And that's everything to a man. For most women, and not saying this is all. So when we're talking about feminine and masculine, remember that that's just energy, and some women are going to have more masculine energy and some women are going to have more feminine. But if you can create a balance, and so many of the women that we do know are tapping more into the masculine because they feel like they need to prove something. We need to catch up with the men. We need to prove ourselves to the men. We need to have all these like lists of awards and accomplishments, and then we feel good when we accomplish something. And it's not because that's innate to who we are. It's because we have been pushed into a patriarchal society. And it causes us to like want to like just like rebel and be like, no, I need to prove myself. And we now live in a society where like if you're not accomplishing something, you don't feel like you're worthy. And so we're constantly hustling, constantly pushing ourselves and things. But the truth is, it'd be so much easier if we went inside. Like you notice that your business becomes easier, it starts to flow. And so my suggestion is to any woman who feels like you have to prove something, or you feel like you're constantly doing something, constantly to go, and like the communication you have with people is like really like that affects it so much. You feel guarded, like you feel triggered by things, you feel like you're like super cold or like conductive. Like let go, surrender to like the fact that everything is here to support you, like into your body, into like the essence of like, if you just like think about when you're in a bath and you're just relaxing, you're just there, you feel so good about yourself. You feel so relaxed. If you just allow yourself to be there, and like that's when you can feel your self-worth. And so like it's not about saying doing business is bad and like you shouldn't try and achieve things. Girl, you should achieve all the things in the world. You should aim for the freaking moon, but you don't need to do what the same men do. The men have a different way of doing things. Masculine energy has a different thing. It goes after things. And feminine can attract things more easily. And if we can incorporate that into our business, we can make business so much more holistic. Instead of like, think about like the way that we have businesses that have literally conquered the world. They have conquered things. And that is such a masculine way of looking at business, conquering. We don't want to conquer anyone. We want to create an environment in a world where people can and women can flourish and be themselves and support each other and feel loved and stuff. Like no one wants to freaking live in a world where McDonald's and like Walmart rule the world. Like that's
Yeah.
that.
It is so masculine, right? It's like it's like penetrating new markets and like, that's literally it. Like, it's like staking a claim on like land and being like, the new McDonald's is here kind of thing. Whereas that's not at all the feminine.
This is a little bit like, we're going to talk a little bit about body parts, but think about our sexual organs. Men's are like out there and they penetrate, and women receive. We have a womb that creates things. We have a space. Like men put things out to the world to create. Women receive in order to create. So if you allow the world to be receiving to you, you will create amazing things. I'm telling you, I went to a beach and I played in the ocean, in the sand, and the best business idea that has like I've made thousands of dollars off of this business experience. I have helped transform so many, like Nika, you're being transformed by this. You're going through it, that something that I was on the beach and I received.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's amazing. Yeah. I love that. Awesome. So transitioning a little bit into offers, talk to us a bit about that. A lot of coaches that we meet and that listen to this podcast are still doing kind of one-off sessions, like $125 an hour or something like that, or they're kind of stuck around the offer because they first struggle with their niche. And a lot of them come to us and they're like, I just want to help people. I know I can help people, but but they haven't learned how to do that. And I totally understand, because when I was starting out, I felt the same way. I was like, I just want to help people as a coach. So what is a niche? And like, what if, the niche isn't profitable, or what if I choose the wrong niche, or how do I create an offer? And okay, so that's a lot, but just kind of like walk us through that.
Okay. So the funny thing is that what we were just talking about before about the feminine leads perfectly into this. Because in order to create an offer, you have to have a mixture of both the heart, which I consider heart is everyone, but heart and mind. The masculine and feminine needs to come together in order to create something that really, like you said, everyone wants to make an impact on their clients' lives. That's what you're here for as a coach. So it seems exhausting that you have to build a business on top of that. Like, that is exhausting. So something that comes from your heart, well, we got to create from there. We got to start from there and move it into creating your business. So that way you're not like trying to figure out a webinar and like your niche and all these different things before you've really tapped into what's really calling you forward. Like, you start with the fact that you want to be impacting people. So we got to start there. And so that's the number one thing, is like establishing that in order to create a really good offer, you have to have a mixture of the heart and the mind harmony. Now, how do you create heart and mind harmony? Like, what does that even mean? Well, the heart and mind harmony is really cool because it's part of the influencer blueprint. So the influencer blueprint is we take your story and we match it with your clients, with the people that you want to serve. Mm-hmm. So what you have to do in order to even find any of that is look in the mirror. Look in the mirror for who you were before you had this transformation. Because so often the people that we want to serve is the people that were in our position. The people who were struggling from something, like whether they were like struggling to have freedom, whether they were struggling with self-confidence, whether they're struggling with, having relationships. You at some point probably had the same experience. Whatever you experienced pulled you into saying, I want to help these people now. So when you go back to your heart, to your story, to your experiences, to the gifts that you have, because you have already experienced that, and you say, okay, so who is that person that I can take? Then you can take in and create an offer because you solve the problems using your gifts. Does that make sense? Am I like explaining a little bit?
Yeah, totally.
So I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that. So the biggest thing is that if you don't have a niche, you're not going to be able to create an offer. So if you are doing one-off sessions, if you're just doing one-off people, that is a sign to me that you're not clear with who you're exactly going to help and not clear with the value you're going to bring. Mm-hmm. So by looking at your own experiences, your own stories, and your own gifts, you're like, okay, who can I serve with this? Who's going to be, and like, I'm not saying like, think about all the potential niches and all of it. Like, don't think of it in terms of potential. Think of it in the terms of like, who do I want to help? Who do I want to serve? Like, and to be honest, almost every single one of our clients has helped people that was in their position before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm helping entrepreneurs step into the message that they want to have, because at one point I needed to share a message. And so by going back and seeing that, you can say, okay, so I want to help these people. Now, how do you turn that into an offer? Like, how do you how do we actually do that so you can actually sell your offer and show the value so you can charge more than $125? Well, the heart and mind is, now that you have your heart figured out, now you have to figure out the mind. And the mind is of your clients, not of your own mind. So many times coaches try to be like, oh, well, I know the need. Well, you know what you need because you already solved the problem, but you're not thinking it from their perspective. What are the problems that they are thinking about? So list out the main challenges that your clients are having. Like, it doesn't need to be like a million of them, but like 5 or 6, and say, now how would I solve those? You're a coach. You know exactly how to solve their problems. You know exactly, if someone was to sit in front of you and you're like, these are the problems I have, and they're the ones that you're like, I can solve these problems. You were going to tell them a diagnosis and be like, okay, so we're going to go from this step to this step to this step. And that's going to create literally a harmony of the heart of yourself, of your story, to the mind of your clients. And it's going to create an offer that doesn't just fulfill you, but it solves the challenge of your client. So that when they see it, they're like, holy shit, that solves my problem. I want to work with you. How do I work with you? And then it comes over a period of time. And not just like every coach knows that you're not going to solve the problem in one session. So why are you even doing that? Hoping that they're going to make the decision. What happens if they bring up fears and they're like, I don't want to go into that. I don't want to deal with that because I'm afraid. It's up to you to hold their hand. But if you get a commitment of saying, I am dedicated and committed to showing up for this for like it's 6 weeks, 8 weeks, then you have a real transformation. So those one-off sessions, like, throw them out and use this process of connecting to your heart and your gifts and say, how can I serve the people? And then look at their challenges and create an offer from there.
So you're basically taking their problem and kind of breaking it down into a system where if they go through that system, they'll come out of it with a fixed problem.
Yeah, because you've already done it. You've already had a coaching client. You've already done it yourself.
No, yeah, I have. But and what I was going to add too is, as you were saying, like, it's so hard for us to get into the mindset that they used to be in sometimes. So you could even just go ask them. Like, I remember something I did was I would find Facebook groups where the client was already in and just ask, like, what are you struggling with right now when it comes to, for example, your mindset? And they would tell me things that I didn't think of. So they would say, for example, the little voice in my head that says I can't, or, procrastination or something. And then what I did was, like, I named the modules literally after that. I was like, week 2, the little voice in your head that says you can't, and like how to overcome that. And then people were reading it and they were like, wow, like, that's me. And I was like, yeah, because I asked you what your problem was and I put it into a thing. So it really is like that. And so many coaches because they are so far along the journey now, it's kind of hard for them to go and like speak the language of people that were where you used to be. And language is so important too, right? So talk to us a little bit about that and like messaging and like connecting through that.
So one thing that we suggest is like, you need to go back to your clients. You need to go back. And the best way to do that is write out your own story. Like, write out your story. Write it as long as you need to, but like, go and write your story from your experience. Be like, what were the challenges I were having? What were the thoughts that I was thinking? And like, it is so healing, and it gives you such good perspective to like see about that. And then, like you were saying, talk to your clients, have the conversations with them, know what they're trying to like convey to you. And then when you're creating content, when you're creating messaging, you're not creating messaging as in be like, I'm going to fulfill your life. Because like everyone does that. Every coach in the world does that. What you're saying is like, what are the specific challenges that you're going to solve? Be like, if someone is having a hard time in their relationship and it's about communication, and you're like, okay, well, if I communicate to them, they're going to have a happier relationship. It's like, well, what does that mean? Like, why are they going to have a happier? So take a step backwards. It's like, well, you're gonna have a more fulfilling relationship because you're gonna be able to communicate your needs and your desires. Like, doesn't that sound way more like specific? You need to be more specific and not so like airy fairy, is what I try to say. Is that like, why is it that someone's gonna feel happy, fulfilled, successful, confident working with you? And what is those challenges? So if you know the challenges, you're like, okay, I'm gonna solve it this way, and reverse engineer it and say like, okay, so like I solved these challenges. Now what's going to happen afterwards? What's going to happen now that I've solved the challenge? And be specific. Be specific to the people that you're wanting to work with, which is why having a niche is super, super crucial. You need to know exactly who you're talking to, because if not, it's not going to work. So my thing is that like whenever you think of the challenges, is that once you've solved them, what is going to happen after you solve them? And use that as a way of messaging. Like, you want to use pain as a messaging in some certain situations to relate, but you don't want to use pain to be like a selling point. No one wants that. You want to paint a vision. You want to be like, connect them, be like, hey, you're having this experience. Now what would happen if? And connect them, like have the both of that, so that way people don't just feel like you're just like trying to sell them their pain and then you get victimized. No one wants a victim for a client. You want an empowered person. So make them the hero. Make them the hero of their story. Be like, if you could communicate your desires, and if you could feel sexy in the bedroom, so that way you're not afraid to have sex, like, or if you could feel like you could sell your clients and not be afraid to ask for the clothes, like all those things are like specific enough, and they paint a vision, and they're going to get someone who's empowered to say, yes, I want that.
I love it. I love it. And I think that's so key, because so often coaches think that we just need to give these educational, pieces of content or write posts like 5 ways to have a happy day. I used to do that. And then people are like, oh, this is great. But no one's really getting to know you. No one's really building that connection with you. And it's like, when you're able to be vulnerable and share your story, is when your ideal client is actually going to see themselves in your shoes and see how you've gone through it, and as a result believe that they can do it. Because, and as someone that coaches on sales, it's like the biggest reason people don't buy is because they think that it's not going to work for them. So if you can show them that like you were there too, or like other people were there too, and they were able to do it, then they'll believe, okay, maybe I can do it too. Because what I've learned recently is like, when people are looking at coaches and stuff on Instagram, they're feeling like they're so far removed from them. They're thinking, oh, well, especially if they're dealing with mindset problems, they're going to say, oh, wow, like that person has it all figured out and they're so perfect and they've got it all together. So when you're actually able to kind of step off that like theoretical pedestal and be like, no, like I'm a human too. And like, I was just like you too. And this is why I can help you. That is when those relationships start. And so much of that is mindset work too. So yeah, talk to us a bit about how like the mindset of entrepreneurs actually sometimes even holds them back from like creating the offer and like moving forward and like creating actual impactful things.
Yes. Okay. So that's also powerful and also true. And I wanted to add a little bit to one thing before I get into the
Okay, go ahead.
The content that you create is basically like a campfire. You want people to come around and enjoy stories. Like, people love, love, love stories. So you just got to bring people around and they're going to freaking love to be around you. All right. So as for mindset, mindset is like literally the most important part and important piece when you are a coach, because I see being a coach as a soul contract, a soul conscious thing. I am continuously and constantly going to grow, so that way I can continuously, constantly help my clients grow. That's what it is to be a coach. You are growing through it. So you're 100% right. And like, you need to show up in vulnerability. And if the mindset pieces of like, I can't charge money, and I don't know if I'm going to get people results, and what if I fail? All of those things are your invitation to say, you know what? My clients probably have the same problem. What can I do to solve it? I'm going to solve myself. I'm going to go heal myself. And so the mindset piece is not just about doing affirmations. Affirmations are great for when you're having like good days, and when you're having a shit day, affirmations do fuck all. Like, I don't care what you say. Affirmations are for when like you're coming out of it or you need to maintain something. Affirmations don't do anything when you're crying on your bed and you're like, I don't want to do this work. I don't want to create any content. Does not work. You've got to do the deeper work. You've got to do the deeper work and continue to do it. Even when you are like high vibe, if you have any fear, you got to go into it. You got to go into it and heal it and allow that space to come through. So there's lots of ways for you to heal the deeper work. Obviously, there's child trauma work. There is, meditation. There is deep journaling. And there's deep journaling. There is doing yoga. There's doing dance. There is like going into ceremonies. Like all of these things are really, really powerful ways. Getting Reiki done. Personally, like I love screaming and crying. Like I become like a traumatic child because I'm allowing myself to move that energy. Mm-hmm. Or if like I'm really feeling down, I talk to myself like the same as I would talk to a child. Like all of us are basically big children inside. So if you're afraid of money, it's like what is coming up that has the thing about money? What is it because you're afraid that you're not going to be worth it? Well, when you were a child, did you feel like you had to do something really, really good in order to get love? Well, then that's your time to be like, support the little girl or the little boy inside of you to be like, you're loved no matter what. What can I do for you? How can I support you? So that's like the deep work that needs to get done in order for you to create a sustainable business on top. Because if you are like copy and pasting and putting like manifestation things, listening to like, affirmations at nighttime, always constantly just exercising or like any of the other things of law of attraction, like none of that stuff is going to create a solid foundation for you to become a coach. Because when your clients are having this problem and you're like, yeah, just do an affirmation, they're going to be like, okay, and then what? This affirmation's not working. And if you can't do the deeper work, how are you going to expect your clients to show up for you? So like the mindset piece I get it. I 100% get it. We all get afraid. I get scared so many, like there's like whenever I make a jump into like something else, whenever I increase my prices or I'm about to make a sale or if I haven't made a sale for a while, I feel it. I feel it so much where I'm like, am I worth it? Am I worthy of doing this? Like I've been doing this for years and I still have those fears and it's up to me to decide what am I going to do with that? And so often, and like there is days where you're just like not going to be able to show up for yourself. And that's okay too. And that's okay. It's just about knowing when you are not showing up and when you're doing avoidance. Like if I'm avoiding myself, I feel it. But if I'm like, you know what, I just don't want to deal with this shit today, that's totally fine. You can go on your couch, watch Netflix, like you're a human being. But if you are continuously like stopping yourself from showing up, spending all your money, not investing in people or over investing, you got to look inside yourself and say, how can I support myself in this? And every single time you level up, it's going to come up. I just recently launched another program and I raised my prices for something and I'm fucking petrified. And I know that that's just another way for me to show up for myself to say, okay, what do I need to do?
Yeah. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. I'm so excited for you.
Awesome. Okay. So if we can leave our coaches with one take-home tip to just kind of get started working on their offer, like what would you say they can work on?
Okay. So my suggestion is to list out the challenge that your clients are having and solve those challenges to create an offer. So to create an offer is like to go backwards from those offers and say, okay, how can I solve this? And from there, you can start to get your messaging, you can start to get the offer, and you'll be able to sell it a lot easier. And come from a place of a heart, like connect to yourself. Go inwards to be like, okay, like how do I want to show up? Who's my soul clients? Why do I want to do this? What are my gifts? What are the magic inside of me? And how is it going to solve other people's and go to the mind of there? And just by creating that harmony, just by creating that, you're going to see something magical come out and it will flow through you. It will 100%, if you allow yourself to like really connect to yourself, it will come through and you will recognize, you'll be like, holy shit, I do have all the tools here to help someone. And from there, you need to formulate it into like, you can have a 6-week program, 8-week program, whatever you want, one-on-one, group. It's up to you at that point, how you want to formulate it. And there's a lot of other things that are going to come after that. There's a lot of other things that like, with sales and messaging and community. So it's not just like this one thing. There's like not one thing I can say that will solve everything, but having that offer is super important to be able to take it to the next level, which is community building, and then from there, from sales.
Awesome. Awesome. I think that's a perfect place to end off. So if people want to connect more with you, where can they find you and get more of your content?
Okay. So because I love you, Nika, and because I feel like so many of your audience may need this, I'm obviously going to offer you, anyone who's listening to this, to have a one-on-one consultation just for me to dive deep into your offer and see like how we can help you. And
Awesome.
the best way to reach us is through a link. So it's going to be www.embodiedinfluencer.com/book book a call. So book a call. So I'm just making sure that I have the right link. So it's
Awesome.
www.embodiedinfluencer.com/book a call. And we're going to be booking calls all for the next couple of weeks. We're going to be having a program start. Our next program starts on April 1st. And so this is going to be a group of 10 people, 10 like committed entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, conscious business owners who are ready to like be like, I am done playing, having one-off sessions, or not being clear, and really just want to know how to take it from 0 to 100, and like really know every step of the way of marketing, sales, community building, lead generation, what to put on their content, like all these different things. Obviously, Nika, because you're in our program and we freaking love you. So you can contact us there and book a free consultation with us.
Yeah. Awesome. And they can feel free to reach out to me too if they have any questions that I can answer. Also, great. So thank you so much for coming on. I love chatting with you, and I think people learned a lot today about so many awesome topics around creating an offer. So thank you again. And yeah, we will see everyone next time.
Thank you, Nika, for having me on. And I just want to say, anyone who's listening to this, happy Women's International Day, because it's awesome.
Yes. Happy International Women's Day to all the queens rising into their feminine power.
Right? And it was so good that we were talking about all the things we're talking about today. Like, this is all perfect. So, queens, you got this. I support you.
Awesome.